Okay.
Andreas. Yes.
Next talk is talk from Andreas. Andreas is actually our treasurer. This is yours.
Yes. No.
And he's doing a talk about what is actually happening behind the community.
Change it out.
Maybe it's good to introduce the PSC a little while he's doing his things.
That's my username. Change.
Here. Paolo,
okay.
Can you maybe stand up? Paolo is our chair.
Another code. Okay.
I thought
and then here.
Marco Bernasocchi was here. No, he's in the other room now. Okay, so, but if there is anything that you want to ask the PSC, just come to Paolo or me or
Oh.
Spanish password. Yes. Okay.
So hello everybody. So I'm going to present a little bit what we as the QGIS community do to bring QGIS on your laptops or PCs and what's all involved to make this happen. And at the second part I will also discuss a little bit about the challenges we have as the project and how you can contribute. So QGIS started in 2002 as a PostGIS viewer. I think it's 17 years old now, and today it is the most popular open source desktop GIS. It's also the second most popular GIS in general, I think, after S.Amerudin. And it's translated in 48 languages. Not all of them are complete, but many of them. It's available for many platforms. We discussed it already before, and it's released every 4 months with an LT release every year. So we recommend organizations to make usage of the LT release, which is a more stable platform for you, and not upgrade every 4 months. It's an amazing cartography toolkit with atlas and report generation. It's a powerful analysis and model builder platform with processing. It's a mobile data collection solution for Android and Windows with QField and QGIS Home. It's a platform for developers to build custom solutions. It's an OGC server with ease of use for styling, labeling, and printing data. And it comes with several web clients you can choose from. And of course, you can integrate it with other ones that are not listed here. If you look at the QGIS search volume on Google, you know this curve. So I think the blue one is QGIS and the red one is ArcGIS. And the yellow is MapInfo and the green is GeoMedia. I think as a MapInfo salesperson, I would be a little bit concerned. But it shows that the interest in QGIS is doing pretty well. This is the worldwide search volume. This is for Spain. And there are countries like France or Italy where the QGIS is already on the top of all GIS with respect to search volume. I don't know if that probably doesn't translate into usage, but it's one of the things we can look at. So yesterday we had a brief look at Cloudflare. Cloudflare is one of the platforms, the services we use to publish the website because there's so much traffic we couldn't handle with an individual server. And do you have any idea how many terabytes of data we serve per month. Any guesses? It's more than 100 terabytes per month. And any idea how many unique visitors we have on the website? 10,000, 100,000, million? It's 750,000 unique visitors per month, so I think that's pretty impressive. And also, I think not all of the people visit our website that use QGIS, only if they download it and then maybe they don't come back for a long time. But what surprised me a lot was the top 5 countries accessing QGIS.org in the total number of requests. And I was very surprised to see this. I was assuming that it's all European countries on the top, but apparently it's the number 1 is US. And that is very surprising because it's using Esri usually a lot. And the second one is France, and then Germany, Italy, and Brazil. So this, and there's quite a large margin between the United States and France as well. So it's not just about the bigger population in the US, but you know, in general, it's a lot of traffic from the US as well. This is some charts, and here you can see, for example, the QGIS 3.6 release. We have some peak here. Yeah. So what makes QGIS a success? And I think that was mentioned before already. It's you as the people. It's the people of the project who contribute. And it's you as a user, and it's you as a contributor. And I think it's also the technology that enables us. Without the internet, I think a project like QGIS would be impossible. And without the collaboration tools we have with GitHub and Redmine and the websites we have and so on, Google Docs, lots of technology we can use to collaborate, and which allows us to work together without meeting each other in person. QGIS is, of course, a team effort, and the community wants to be user-friendly, inclusive, respectful, and welcoming to users and contributors and developers. And we also have a code of conduct. You can find it on the website. So what are these people contributing? Some of it was mentioned before, but I think it's a long list, and it's probably not complete what I list here. So we can translate QGIS in one of these 46 languages, or an additional one we don't have yet. You can also translate documentation and website. You can help with documentation, create training material. You can test QGIS and submit bug reports. Providing a good bug report is very, very valuable and takes some time. Make it reproducible, provide some data, project. If you just write QGIS crashes, that doesn't help much, not even a stack trace, if you don't explain what you did when it crashed. Of course, you can develop new features. You can fix bugs and issues. You can help maintain the QGIS IT infrastructure, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later, what it involves. You can help maintain GitHub pull requests, help review code from other developers. Some people are maintaining Travis CI, that's highly technical. But that's the continuous integration. We have every pull request we get or commit runs through a number of tests, and we get a green light or a red light if the tests are passed or not. And that takes some maintaining as well. Issue management, bugs and feature requests. Giovanni is doing a great job here. and he makes sure that if there's not enough information in a bug report, he writes the reporter, please, can you provide more information, and walks them through it sometimes, or helps structuring it and so on. Of course, releasing QGIS and packaging it for all the different platforms, that's a lot of work, although you can automate quite a bit. Teaching QGIS is a contribution, creating courses and sharing it with others. Reviewing training material and manage the certificates, we've heard about that before. Writing plugins, managing the plugin submissions. There are 2 people doing this, Paolo and Admire, I think. Donating, sponsoring, doing accounting, sponsor management, running user groups, organizing local events, organizing developer meetings. List goes on. Helping users on Stack Exchange, IRC and mailing lists, doing social media, public relations, and tutoring. That's an important issue, I think, tutoring new contributors to help them get involved with all of these tasks. Let's put some faces on our contributors. Apologize if it's not complete, but of course there's Gary Sherman, Tim Sutton, the first PSC chair, and many developers here. Yeah. And there are people like you and me, and they all started small and go along with the project. And you can approach them and talk to them and ask questions and come with suggestions. Okay, this is a behind-the-scenes talk, so we can tell you a little bit what's involved here. And you can see many logos of technologies that we use to run our infrastructure. We have our own physical servers at a provider, but we also use just as many hosted services from other providers and companies. So we have 3 physical servers at Hetzner in Germany. One is for the website hosting, for plugins.org, QGIS.org, documentation, building of the website, which is also translated in different languages, to publish the documentation, make the packages for different platforms. And then we have a dedicated server for the issues QGIS.org, which is a Redmine instance with, it's not MySQL, it's Postgres. And we have a dedicated machine for running tests, performance tests, and a backup box. Those are the resources we use at Hetzner provider. And then an important service is Cloudflare for CDN, which takes a lot of the bandwidth we otherwise couldn't manage. It's a CDN, content delivery network with different local centers for sending out the data, and also for the DNS. Then of course we use GitHub as a social coding platform and version control system. And partially it's also used for issue tracking for documentation and website. And I mentioned Travis, the continuous integration platform that we pull requests on through these tests. It creates a new build of QGIS with the changes, and then you can see if the tests are okay or not. We use Docker a lot for building the websites and documentation and things like that. Then there are several tools we use as the PSC, for example Zoom for video conferencing. We use Google Docs for collaborative documents, Lumio for voting, and then some people use Twitter, WordPress to do some PR and help on Stack Exchange. And we use payment providers for donations and sponsorships, currently Stripe and PayPal. And then there are even additional servers not run by QGIS.org. For example, Cartosa is providing the platform for managing changelogs, sponsors training certificates. Norbit is doing Windows builds also, and other companies are building Apple packages. So who is doing all of this? And it's already a smaller group, I think. It might not be complete here, but I think all this technology work could be a little bit better distributed on more shoulders, because it's mainly the first 2 or 3 here, and then the other 2 are managing more the GitHub and Travis side. And not so many people actually know the complete QGIS IT infrastructure, which can also be a problem sometimes. But I discussed this yesterday with Richard. It's not unique to QGIS. Also, many companies have these issues that the knowledge about the technology of the organization is only with very few people often. You probably know a bit about the release management. So there is a continuous development on master branch in GitHub. There is new features coming in all the time, the little stars represented. And then every 4 months we have a time-based release. And I think the decision to do the time-based release was a very good decision, because without that there would be endless discussions when is there a good time to release QGIS. So now this time-based releases, it's very clear. There's 3 months of development and 1 month is for fixing issues and stabilizing, and then the next version is released. And of course that's a very fast pace of releases every 4 months, and for that reason we recommend for organizations to use the LT versions which come out every year. Every 3rd version is a LT version. And there's also a roadmap in the link here. You can go to that website, and it's very clearly, you can see when the next releases will appear and the next bug fix releases. And yeah. And then there's the bug fixing effort, and the non-LT releases don't get as many bug fixes, but the LT releases always get the backports if it's possible technically to get the fixes in the LT version. The longer time since between the release and the more difficult it will get to backport, but the developers do their best to backport issues, bugs, fixes. And the release management, the release manager is Jürgen Fischer, but there are other people helping to package. The QGIS as an organization, that's a chart how we are organized. And you can see, here's the QGIS community, and we also have QGIS user groups, and from within the community there are also the contributors. The contributors are those who have a GitHub account, and they can contribute to either translation, documentation, fixes, training material in the code directly, or any tools around QGIS. And so each QGIS user group, the local representatives, they have a voting member, and matching this, there is a community contributor member as a voting member for each user group. And in addition, there's one representative from OSGeo. And from these contributors, there's a steering committee, the project steering committee, and from that there's 3 people who are the formal representatives that can sign contracts or do office work, and that's the chair and the vice chair and myself as the treasurer. So what are the voting members doing? They elect the PSC and the board, also the chair and the financial auditors. And they decide on QGIS grant proposals. Grant proposals is, each year we try to set aside some money for work that is done by contributors or developers. And it helps to improve the project and often finances stuff that would be hard to sell to organizations because it's not a shiny new feature, but some behind the scene work. And the voting members also approve the annual report and the financial report and stuff like this. With the current PSC, the two members in the middle, Gary and Tim, they are honorary PSC members. They are not active PSC members anymore. This is a little chart on the QGIS income. We get 150,000 euro per year currently, and the bulk of it, the huge chunk, that's sponsorships. That next one is donations, that one, and then we have contributions to bug fixing and the training certificates. Yeah, these are the sources of income mainly. And our expenses, we spent more than we had income this year, the last year, because there was QGIS 3 release, and the bulk of the expenses is bug fixing. That's more than 50% is bug fixing. And we have packaging work, grants program, and the developer meetings, and some smaller items, documentation, Python API documentation, and so on. Yeah, this is the location of the developer meetings. It's quite Europe-centric, but we had one in Africa aligned with FOSS4G. And it's a lot of fun, and I invite you to join it. They are called Hackfests or developer meetings. We might call them contributor meeting in the future. Depends what we decide. And of course the conference is also a lot of fun. Yeah, these are the, I think we can skip this because we are running out of time. I want to briefly show these are the local user groups, and they help us to reach people that can't come to global meetings, because not everyone is, for everyone it's possible to join a conference like this, do the traveling. And they help us with marketing in their local country, and with networking and know-how exchange, and they organize user meetings and everything. At the last slide, 2 slides, I want to summarize a little bit of the challenges we have as the QGIS project. We are bottom-up driven, not like a company top-down, and we also don't have any employees from QGIS.org. With 150 Ks you cannot pay employees. So there is no direct influence of the board or PSC on the developers. We have to rely on their goodwill and convince them to collaborate. And the QGIS development is usually, so the development money for new features goes directly to the companies who do the work. And that is a good thing and also a challenge sometimes. One of the major issues we have is quality assurance and bug fixing. And it's very hard to find people working on the documentation. That's definitely also a challenge we have. And regarding the funds, I think it's getting better every year with the funds, and no new sponsors are coming. But of course, compared to the many users and tasks we have, it's a relatively small budget. And we also don't have a marketing department. Yes, so these are some measurements we do. We have automatic testing, test suites, enhancement proposal. Every change is done in a pull request rather than directly on the code repo. And there is mentoring for new developers. This is my last slide, and I invite you to follow QGIS, but on Twitter or GitHub. Would be better on GitHub than on Twitter. But even better, we invite you to be part of QGIS and not just follow. Following is very passive. You can be active and contribute and be a part of QGIS. So the question remains open, what will you or can you contribute to us as a community, also in order to help us, others, or help your own organization to make QGIS better. Thanks for listening. Are there any?
Okay, thanks very much. Are there any questions from the? Yes.
Well, I'm just interested how.
Oh, wait, you get a microphone.
Sorry. Hello. I was just wondering how you found Lumio to be working as a decision-making tool.
Well, we use it mainly for the voting on the official stuff we have to do as part of the AGM, the general meeting we have each year. That's one of the main usages of Lumio, and sometimes if there are technical decisions that might be done by only a smaller group. Not everyone is able to decide on technical stuff. Yeah. And it works pretty well. There's also not only voting, sometimes there's also discussion going on. But it's not always clear whether the discussion is on the public mailing list or on Lumio. Yeah. Do you use it as well?
Yeah, but for non-technical projects, so around cooperative development in the UK. But, so I was interested to see it being used in a slightly different context with a more technical set of decisions. I guess. Yeah, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work, but I was just interested to know how you'd experienced it.
It's not something we use so often, but yeah.
Just a counting machine.
Yeah.
Not a discussion machine. Not a discussion. Other questions? No? Okay, thanks very much, Andreas.